Shatika, welcome. I hope y'all can't hear that music because they've been blaring Mexican music next door. The workers are putting up a privacy fence around the house they built, and they've had music, Mexican music, blasting all day. Yesterday, they did the same thing. Thank God I already had my videos done yesterday. Huh? Forgot to turn my sound off. Yeah, they might know that, I do videos and I go live at 3. So they might figure that all that music will just mess it all up. But I'm going live anyway. I don't know if you can hear it. Hey, Brooklyn Marie. And there's Dennis. Yeah, I thought about it. I said, get my CD player and put it out there on the patio and just blare it. Have battles of Mexican music and punk rock or something. But I said, I'm not going to be that mean. But I can hear it in the house. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not. I hope it's not. So y'all let me know if you hear Mexican music in the background. Because they're not going to monetize my live if they can hear it. And I don't want to go through and narrate this live because then the chat will be no good. I'm trying to bring up my chat here on the live. Yeah, we got Dennis, we got Brooklyn and Shatika. Well, the wind is just a little bit. I've been outside. I'm coughing and gagging already because the wind's blowing real bad today. It's been blowing all day. Yeah, and it's a pretty tall privacy fence. I don't think there's anybody going to be trying to climb over it. And there's Terry Damon. Hello, Terry. Can y'all hear the music in the background? I'm just curious. I'm hoping you can't, but I don't know. Are you from South Texas, Linda? I'm in North Central Texas right now. This is where I've been living since 1978. But I'm originally from North Carolina, the East Coast, right on the East Coast. Right around where the Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach, Holden's Beach, all that area is. And there's Uncle BB. Thank God you can't hear it. Every once in a while you might hear a thump, a bump, bump, bump. And that's their electric nail gun that they're shooting the nails into the fence, putting it up, the panels. I thought they probably put it up in sections, but they're putting it up one board at a time all the way down the road. I mean, they put the post up first, and then they put the braces at the top and the bottom, and now they're going around putting one board in at a time. And they're already all the way around, and they're on my side now doing it. And they're about halfway down the lot on my side. So they should be finished with putting the fence up today. And I guess they'll put like an entrance door into the fence at the front up here. So you can go from the front to the backyard. Either, from the yard you can, or either go through the house to get to the backyard. That's the way my daughter's house was in Watauga. I'm sorry, y'all. But between all the digging that's been going around, stirring up of dust, and now the wind, the wind, you know, I can't even. Between them digging, stirring up the dust, and then the wind blowing like crazy yesterday and today, my allergies are gone crazy. And there's Edith. Hey, Edith, how are you doing today? Yeah. If me and my allergies can survive the wind and the dust with all this home building and lot clearing going on, and it's everywhere in the neighborhood, not just here beside me, almost on every single block through this whole community. They're clearing lots, they're building homes everywhere. So I'm constantly breathing all that crap that I'm allergic to. Yeah, I got a handful of cough drops right here. And I've got my little thermos full of iced tea to keep my throat wet. And there's Wilson. Hey, Wilson. But I keep hearing that dum 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 dum. You know how the Mexican music is? I've heard that all day long. And you know, I don't mind the music. It's just a little loud. Yes, I have really bad allergies, Edith. I'm allergic to everything. Everything around me, dust, all the trees, the grass, what's growing in the dirt, I'm allergic to. I'm allergic to everything. So when the wind blows, it stirs up everything I'm allergic to in the air, so I'm constantly breathing it. And you know how it is. My windows, these are 50-year-old windows. They're not as sealed as a brand new house would be. So some of that dust works its way in my house. I mean, it's better in here, but I'm constantly dusting with all this home building going on. And still there's dust on everything. I was just thinking of Wilson. I was having hog-head cheese and crackers. Oh my gosh. That does not sound appealing to me. I got through eating me a good lunch. I did a video on what I have for lunch today, and I'll post it tomorrow. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to see the video. I take 2 medications every night for allergies. I use nasal sprays for allergies. I use antibiotic eye drops for my eyes for the allergies. Yeah, I take everything for allergies. This is the first year that I have not had bronchitis from allergies, thank God. But I learned a little trick. If you feel like your throat's getting scratchy or your chest is starting to act up, at least from allergies, almost like it does when you're coming down with bronchitis or something, I keep a good chest congestion relief syrup here, like a cough syrup. And I'll take a good swig of that, and that clears it right up. And I haven't had bronchitis from allergies in a couple of years now. But when I get it, I can barely breathe. Hey, Kathy. Good afternoon to you, too. Welcome. And I'm sure they'll put a privacy fence up around this other house whenever it's built. They haven't even got the foundation done on it yet. They're still working on the yard and the septic system and all the pipes and all that kind of stuff. Well, like I said, these are just the Mexican builders. I don't know who's going to be living in these houses, because I know the one over here that they're putting the privacy fence up today and yesterday, that's built by a realtor, and she's got the house up for sale as soon as it's completed with the yard finished and everything. She's going to sell it, so I don't have any idea who's going to live there, whether it'll be a Mexican family, American, Chinese, Japanese, who knows. But, I don't care who lives there as long as they're decent people and they don't bother me, because I won't bother them. And the same with this one back over here. I don't know if it's relatives of the people that live back here or not. It could be. But right now it's construction people over there working. It's not neighbors there doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know right now who it's going to be over there. But there's rocks, little rocks, that I moved right along where they're putting the fence line down, or where they're putting the fence down. But it's on my property, on my side. I've got to get over there and start moving some of them small rocks back over here, because I'm going to use them as in a base to weight down my corner pole for my shade cloth. Hopefully to get them heavy enough that they won't tip over, or nobody can move them, or the wind won't move them like they've been doing. Who knows, Uncle BB? I don't know. It's the builders over there. It's the guys that are putting the fence in that are playing the music. They have a different crew that comes in to do each stage of the house. The building of the house, they had different crews coming in. They'd come in and do one job. They finish it. Another crew comes in, puts the floors down, or does painting. Another crew will come in and put cabinets in and stuff like that. Another crew come in and started the yard, laying the grass and stuff like that. And now this different crew is been here for the last couple of days, working on the fence. Yeah, they're subcontractors. Yeah, one of the foremen that was there to begin with, that was in charge of actually building the house and putting walls up in the house and that type of thing, he said, "Oh, you'll get nice people." Well, it don't matter if they're nice people or not. I don't want them coming over on my lot, parking, using it for a parking lot or whatever they want to do with it. So I'm glad they are putting a fence up. Because if it's a Mexican family moves in there, right away they're going to have a big party. They'll probably have a party that'll run all weekend, day and night. But I hope they have sense enough to knock it off at 12 midnight. Because if they don't, I'm afraid a lot of neighbors are going to be calling the cops to them, because it was getting out of hand before. Every Mexican family moved in the neighborhood had a great big welcome-in party. And they had family, friends, you name it, from everywhere around. And those parties ran all night long with this blasting music that went throughout the whole community. And finally people got tired of it, and they said enough's enough. And because we do have a curfew out here. 12 midnight on like a Friday or Saturday. No, on a Friday night, I think it's like 1 p.m. Sunday night, it's 12 midnight. Sunday night, it's 12 midnight. And the other nights, the weekdays, I think it's real early, a lot earlier than that because the people work. But they were ignoring it, and they were doing all-night parties, and people that work have to get up and go to work the next day, and that were kept awake all night got tired of it, and you can't blame them. Well, not only the housewarmings, but they have the parties where the girls turn 15, and they have the big celebration for that, and those would run all night. Oh my God, they'd have 100 people in the yard with tents up, food everywhere, and and that's all fine. I don't mind any of that, but not running all night long. You got to cut it off sometime. You need to be a little bit respectful to your neighbors. Well, they say, well, we're happy, we're celebrating. That's all fine and dandy, but not every weekend. Not every weekend, all-nighters. No, no, no. Like I told you one time, and it wasn't Mexicans, because this is before the Mexicans moved in next door, kind of catty-cornered behind where they're building or putting the foundation down now. And they started, well, before the Mexicans moved in, there was a white family, young family that lived there. And the guy loved to play his music. He loved to have parties. Well, on Friday night, they started playing loud music and could hear the laughing and carrying on, and it went on most of the night. Saturday, they blasted the music. It started running all day. So I got fed up with it. I got out there with my CD player. I turned it wide open, and I aimed it right toward the house over there, and I blasted it. Turned it up just as loud as it would go. And I heard the guy say, "Oh, I think the neighbor's mad. She's got her music blasting." And somebody told him and said, "Well, we got ours blasting too." So they finally turned theirs off. Once they turned theirs off, I saw that they weren't going to play it anymore. I turned mine off. And it wasn't a couple of weeks later, they moved. I guess they were going to go out in the country somewhere where they could party all night and nobody'd mind. Well, that's where they need to be if they want to do something like that. I've never been invited to any of their parties or anything. It's like a single woman is taboo. These Mexican ladies that have husbands, they don't want you inviting single women that are not within their family, so to speak. Too much cha-cha-cha. Very little, Edith. I started learning Spanish because of working with Spanish kids in the public schools, but I haven't been active with it in a long time. You live 3 miles from a military training facility. I'm used to the noise, the sounds of freedom. Yeah, but does that noise go on all night, Dennis? Yeah, I got to go to the store, too, and get some concrete. And I hate to go get it and have it loaded in my car because those bags are so heavy. I have all I can do to get one out of the trunk and kind of roll it over and let it fall into a wheelbarrow to get it in the backyard. So I don't know what I'm going to do. You get out your rocking chair and shotgun. Well, it's not quite that bad. Be like Granny Clampett, get out there with my shotgun. My nose has been running, been coughing and gagging most of the day. Hush, hush, sweet Charlotte. They would be tossed out from the care facility. Yeah, I'm sure. Even if they lived next to the care facility and was doing loud boom boom music, they'd be probably evicted from where they lived. Okay, Gladys. I'm glad you're here, though. I knew how to communicate in Spanish with basic words when I worked in the warehouse in Baytown. That's been years ago, and I've forgotten a lot. Well, most of these Mexicans speak English. A lot of times they don't want you to know they speak English, so they act like they don't know English, so they can get away with stuff. If you catch them doing something they're not supposed to do, you try to tell them, "No English, no English, don't understand." They don't want to understand because they want to get away with what they're doing. So I started learning Spanish. There was a website on the internet that you could go to every day, and it would teach you a word and a whole sentence with it. So I started doing that. I'd learn a word a day with a sentence, a word a day with a sentence. And then later, when I had a whole lot of Mexican students in my class, like this one day, there was a bunch of kids, bunch of boys, teenage boys, because it was in high school. I don't know if it was 9th or 10th graders, but they came into class and they were just sitting there, and they every once in a while talked to one another because they were in a little group. They had a couple on the side, a couple behind them, a couple in front. They had nothing out on their table. No paper, no pencil, no nothing to do any work with. And we were getting into the assignments. And of course, they were talking with one another in Spanish, thinking I couldn't understand, which a lot of it I couldn't, but I could pick up on some words. And, I went ahead and gave the kids the teacher's assignment, which they needed pen and paper or pencil and paper to do it. Those kids just sat there and just laid back like, well, that doesn't pertain to me. I don't have to do anything. So I looked in their direction. I said, "TNS on la piece." One of the guys just like, "What?" I said, "TNS on la piece." He immediately reached in his desk, got something to write with, and he knew he better get the paper with it, and they started doing their work. And then they said a few things back and forth in Spanish. Like, they were shocked because I could speak a little Spanish. I knew a little Spanish, which they didn't think I could understand one word of Spanish. Well, they were careful, at least from then on, what they said in Spanish in my classroom, because they weren't sure I could understand it or not. Dennis said, "I have a noisy Puerto Rican family as neighbors. I usually just join them and eat their food. They sure don't know how to cook." Well, with these people, I don't know if I dare just show up at one of their parties. Like, just walk in their backyard uninvited. I don't know if it would be safe to do that. And see, the schools don't want you to learn Spanish to accommodate them. They want the kids to learn English. They want them to speak English in an English-speaking school, which I can understand that. But if you're teaching Spanish kids, even as a substitute teacher, you got to be able to communicate with them. And some of those kids that came in honestly knew not one word of English. So I made up my mind I was going to learn a little bit, at least enough to communicate with them, and at least enough to let them know that They can't come in my classroom and communicate back and forth with the other Mexican students anytime they want to and say anything they want to because they don't know if I know what they're saying. So that stopped. Let me turn this speaker off. Sometimes it'll buzz, so. Yeah, that tickled me when I got his reaction. He just perked up like, oh my God, she knows Spanish. She knows what we said earlier. Because, they'd say something to one another looking straight at me and then they'd laugh like they were making some kind of joke about me. So to this day, they don't know if I understood what they said or not. They probably think I knew exactly what they said because from then on, they didn't come in and say too much in Spanish to one another in the classroom anymore. And there's Chris from London, England. Hello and welcome. How's the weather in England, in London today? Is it foggy and wet? It's windy and dry here and hot. It's 76 degrees right now. What time of day is it in England? It's probably early morning, isn't it? Or is it early AM for you? I don't know. I keep forgetting which way the hours go in England compared to us. No, not in a special ed class. This was just a regular high school class. I don't know if it was math or science or history. I don't remember what class it was in. But they had an assignment to do, and I always made sure, and the teachers knew that the kids always got their assignments done when I was their substitute teacher because, I've got a college degree too. I could help them with most of the stuff that they needed help with. So just because the regular teacher wasn't there didn't mean that they were going to miss their assignment. That's one reason I was a preferred sub, is because they knew they could count on me to get those kids to do their assignment. They're not going to miss out on doing the work and learning what they were supposed to learn just because they weren't there, Which there's some substitutes, they don't know anything, they don't do anything. They go in, they take the attendance, and they sit there. The kids are just free to do whatever they want as long as they're under control. And that's the only reason the sub is there. And I wasn't like that. I actually taught the class when I was there. $21:30. I'd have to look at the chart on military time to know what time that is. 9:30 p.m. Okay. So we're catching you a little bit before bedtime. I love being a teacher. I love working with the kids. And I worked with all the schools out here, all of the schools in Hood County. I mean, I went from kindergarten right up to 12th grade. I was working every day. And teachers would still call me wanting me to come sub for them that day. And I was already had an assignment. Or sometimes I would sub in the morning at the middle school. And it was close enough that in between classes, I could run up to the high school and take care of their classes in the afternoon. I stayed pretty busy, which was good because, substitute teachers don't make a whole lot of money. But if you can work every day, it was worth it. And now they're making even more. They make a lot more now than they did when I was working there. I guess they raised the pay because of all of the school shootings and different things that have happened in and out of schools. So they figure they got to pay the teachers more or they're not going to come. And I loved the little kids. I mean, I loved all of them, but the little kids, they would always behave when I was there, because I knew to keep them busy, keep them interested, keep them busy, and they'll sit there and work their little hearts out and they'll be just as good in school. It's when they get bored and they have nothing to do that they start going crazy. So I worked hard to keep them busy. If they did all the work I gave them, I would think up something to, give them to do. You were working off campus? Yeah, I didn't substitute teach for too many of the special ed classes, but I have been in maybe one special ed class a month out of all the other ones that I sub for. No, I've never seen that, Dennis. Have you seen that? Seen the lunch lady get fired for giving food to kids that didn't have money? Here, the little kids in the elementary schools, in most of the schools out here, they got a free breakfast. If they got to school early enough, they got free breakfast served to them. Where was that at, Dennis? Was that in a movie or something you saw? Tamara said she saw that. On the news, I haven't seen the news, so I missed it. When was that on, Dennis? Was it on just recently? And for some reason, my internet is not very clear today. Is it clear on your end, y'all? Or is it fuzzy? I just scrolled up to where it shows my video picture, and it's not very clear. On the camera, it's clear as a bell. But on the laptop stream where it's coming in, it's not very good at all. It's not as bad as it was that other time when I had to end the live, but it's still not very clear. Looks good here. Well, it could be just this laptop. I need a new one. This one is so out of date. Yeah, a lot of the teachers out here did too when in the elementary schools, like first through maybe fifth or sixth grade. When you did good or did good on a test, you got to go pick something out of the treasure chest. And when I subbed, I always took pencils, pens, erasers, extra paper. Because, there's always kids showing up that they don't have a pencil, they don't have an eraser, they don't have a pen if they need it, or they don't have paper to write on. So I got to the place where I was supplying all that. Just, to the ones that didn't have it. It wasn't in every class, but once in a while you'd come across a student that needed something. But I was trying to look at one of the videos. Oh, I know. This is a question for seeds now. In one of my videos, I had cuttings that I recently posted. What kind of cuttings was I working with in that video? What was it cuttings of? What were the cuttings that I was using in that video, y'all? Tamra, I swear you done it again. It's tree collards, yeah. Tamra, you got it right again. She's going to win a whole garden of seeds. No, it wasn't roses or flowers. It was plants, but it was the tree collard cuttings. Remember I told you I cut about 5 of them and I put them in those little pots and I brought them in the house and kept them through all that freezing temperature just in case my big ones froze and died outside. I'd at least have those. So I went ahead and put those out in those 5-gallon buckets. Yeah, she's paying attention. She's watching those videos, that's for sure. So I got more seeds to send out to Tamra. I'll get those out tomorrow whenever I take some other stuff to the post office. And I got to buy stamps tomorrow too, so I know I've got to go to the post office to get them. And there's Henry. Hey, Henry. How we're doing? What we're doing today. Here, how we're doing. I'm doing great. How are you, Henry? You need a garden of seeds? Well, you're going to have a garden full if you keep winning because you're going to keep getting seeds. Yeah, that's pretty bad. When you got a hungry child, they have no money to buy food, and they're asking you for food, and you say, I can't give you food. I mean, that would be hard for me to do too. I'd probably give the kid food if I paid for it myself. So, with me giving it to them and paying for it, it wouldn't be free food because somebody paid for it, me. I wouldn't just take it upon myself to give them free food that's not paid for at all. But, I'd more than likely give them food and go ahead and pay for it myself. I looked up to see what tree collards are. Usually, if they're big enough and strong enough and have roots down deep enough, like if you can get them in the ground, they'll survive through a freeze. Because the main stalk will survive and the roots will survive, and they'll come back from that. And I think my biggest ones out there survived. I mean, they look real puny. They look like the stalks are stripped, but they're mainly still green, so they can start growing again. Well, the way it is in the elementary schools here, usually the kids are not given the money to buy lunch. It's put in an account. Since the computer system has come about, the schools have a website for the cafeterias, and the parents from home can pay in money to their child's account. So the money's already there for them to get food that week. And sometimes a parent will forget to put it there, and all of a sudden the child walks up to get lunch and they're told, well, there's no money there in the account. But a lot of times in that case, they will go ahead and let that child have lunch that day and tell the parents that they need to go ahead and pay for that lunch for today and then put some in for the rest of the week if they want them to eat lunch. And so far that's worked out for them. Because a lot of times, the parents are working, they forget to go in and put money in the account. A lot of times they put enough money in the account to run for the whole month. But, sooner or later it's going to run out. And the parent may forget one day to go in and put money in the account, and maybe there was nothing there when the child went to get their lunch that day. You're going to start loading your greenhouse tomorrow? Well, I've already got seeds coming up in my greenhouse. My turnip seeds are popped out of the ground. You know, I planted those in the raised bed because I've got a lot of seeds that I planted outside this time of year that you can plant outside. Like my lettuce has come up, my turnips. My beets haven't come up yet. I don't know how long it takes them to germinate. I forgot. But evidently they're a little bit longer than the turnips. I've planted parsnips. I've even put watermelon seed outside. And I planted 4 different kind of watermelons in that one great big blue pot. I want to have one plant of each watermelon. And I said if they come up and they freeze and die, I've got extra seed. I can put another seed in place of them. So I got them at Amazon, Tamara. They've been having a big sale on the raised beds at Amazon, and I got 2 of the smaller ones that don't have the frame or the cover. I got the 2 small ones for like $40 for both of them. And I don't remember what I paid for the larger one that I haven't got full of dirt yet. I'm still trying to decide where to put it. But I don't remember where I got it. But I mean, I did get it at Amazon. I just don't remember what I paid for it. But it was on sale too because I'm a tightwad. I don't spend money if I don't have to spend it. And if I come across a good sale, if I can possibly get it, I'm going to get it. Oh my God, your mom gave you a can of Welch Aid and the mean lunch lady said your mom should have given you an opener. Oh my God. That lunch lady should have been slapped. I mean, how much effort would it take her to give that child a can opener to open her Welch Aid? I mean, get real. I tell you, people in some of these jobs today, they don't even want to do their job, much less give a kid a can opener. Oh, that's not their job description. Well, I've got the first one out that I put out, but I've never used the cover on it. I've got celery planted in it now. I've got turnips or parsnips in one end of it. I haven't put anything in the other end of it yet. So far I have not had a need to put the cover on. The cover for that one is clear white. The cover for the new one is the green, like my greenhouse cover. I like that green better because it helps filter out a little bit of that harsh sun from just beating right down on the plant. One of our gardens is like 120 foot long. I don't know what guardians. What are you talking about, Henry? And by 80 foot wide. That would be way too big for a raised garden. I don't know what you're talking about by guardians. Because that would be way too big for a raised bed garden. You need something smaller so you can get to it. In fact, I like the smaller ones the best. I mean, if I had to, I could probably make some kind of a cover to go over it. Oh, I got cucumbers planted in one little one, the last little one that I planted anything in. And you'll see it in one of my videos coming up where I put 2 poles that meet at the middle at each end of it. I fastened them together. I put a pole across the top, and I put one of those trellis nets around it, and I've got cucumbers planted at each end of it, or seed. They haven't come up yet. So the cucumbers can grow while everything else inside is growing. I think I put holy basil at one end. I've got a Hungarian pepper plant seeds planted at one end, and like marigolds at the edge. So I can't wait to see how that's going to work out. But yeah, there's plenty of like a nylon mesh type trellis that's all around that frame that I've put up. And there's Lucky Girl. Yeah, I said that, but that was a figure of speech. I wouldn't have actually slapped her, but I'd felt like doing it. I know you look at somebody wrong nowadays and they'll put you in jail. How's Lucky Girl? Gardens in the ground hurt the size of wife's garden. Though, if that's a raised bed gardens, they're pretty big. I don't want anything any bigger raised bed in my yard to deal with other than that big raised bed that's like 5 or 6 foot long and like 2.5 foot wide, because I'm short. I can't get over to the center of it to do anything. Well, you might get Egyptian walking onions later this spring anyway, Tamara. Because I'm sure I'm going to have a bunch of those to give away several times. Just waiting. Well, it's pretty warm here today. It's 75 right now, but it was 85 yesterday, and it was in the 80s the day before that. And the coldest it's going to get at night, 2 different nights between now and the 14th of March, is 39 degrees. And that's 2 different nights spread out way. And the rest of the nights it's going to be in the 40s and 50s and even 60s. Yeah, I've got quite a few pots of Egyptian walking onions. And when those things start walking, I don't know where I'm going to put all those baby onions. So I'll be giving some away quite often, not just one time. I'll have to give them away quick because, you got to pick them and get them in the ground pretty soon. They're not something you can put up and let them dry and then plant them that next year. Whenever you get them, you plant them right then. Because Egyptian walking onions do great winter or summer. They grow all year round. Sometimes when it gets extremely cold, the outer leaves will kind of die off, but the center will be growing like crazy. Lucky Girl says, I'm from Orlando, Florida, but moved to Ohio permanently. Love the 4 seasons. Wilson said, send me some my way. Well, I might do that, Wilson, when I have them. I don't have any yet. It'll be spring. When they start walking, then I'll have plenty of them. William wants some of the heat. It's 25 where he's at. Oh, I couldn't handle 25 degrees. Oh my goodness, that's cold. Oh my God, in the 40s, the teacher banged your mom's head against the blackboard. Oh my goodness, Uncle BB. I wonder what they did with that teacher. That is so wrong. You don't do something like that. You could give a child a concussion by banging their head against the blackboard. That's definitely child abuse. $75 over there in southwest Louisiana. And there's Christine Mahoney. Hi, Christine. Well, not a whole lot, just a lot of chit chat. Like I said, it's 75 degrees, but windy here today. The wind's blowing, awful. I just gave away seeds, and like always, Tamara Ameling won. She was the first up on the chat with the answer. Henry says, yeah, we barely have 2 seasons, summer and winter here. I don't think Texas knows what 4 seasons are. Because it's either hot or cold. There's no in between. It either rains or it floods. Or it don't rain. It's a drought or it's a flood. Oh, we're supposed to get, I think they're issuing rain alerts that we should get rain maybe 3 hours. It's like 4 now, so maybe 6, 7 o'clock we should get some rain, which is much needed. I'm not going to argue about it. And I know my plants out there will love it. And I moved my 5-tier planter box off of the patio, and I moved it out behind the greenhouse so it gets the morning sun. And then about noon, it'll start getting shaded from the hot sun of the afternoon, because behind the greenhouse, it's in the shade a little bit. And I said, I think things will grow a little bit better there. And I've redone I dumped each tray out. I lined them with a plastic, not all the way up, but about that far up, so it has some type of a water reservoir in the bottom. And then I lined the plastic on the inside with cardboard, like made a little cardboard long box. And then I put my soil in that, and I fertilized it good, poured, compost tea in it, every kind. I haven't planted in it yet. I haven't picked out exactly the seeds I want to put there, but I think I want to use a couple of the rows for lettuce maybe, because I've got a bunch of lettuce coming up, and I know I'm going to have to pull some out, thin it out, and transplant it somewhere. So I'm thinking maybe that 5-tier planter box. You're possibly getting it tomorrow. Well, I didn't think we were going to get rain today, but it said 3 hours possible rain. I do need to get out there and move a couple of, I bought these little oval tin containers, and they had decorations on the front, for like the 4th of July. And I was going to turn them into pots to plant stuff in, but I haven't drilled holes in them yet. But I replaced part of the dirt that I dumped out of those trays of that planter with potting mix. So I dumped a bunch of what I was not going to use in the trays into those 2 tin pots. And I don't have holes in them yet. So if it rains, I need to move those under shelter, because they'll overflow with water. There's nowhere for it to drain out. Your t-shirt is just lovely. Well, thank you. I love green, this color green. Wilson said, here in San Antonio, it's dry just like Tucson. No rain in the forecast. Yeah, I was going to look that up and see what the forecast says, because they changed from the way they had that listed earlier. Hi, Grandma, make me cookies. I did a cooking video today that I'll post tomorrow. But it's not cookies. Let's see if I can bring up the forecast. That wind is just howling out there. See what they say. The humidity is 10% right now. Wind is 17 miles per hour. Rain likely around 7 p.m. So, yeah, I was right, 6, 7 p.m. Yeah, it'll be 70 degrees at 6 p.m. with 40% chance of rain. It'll be 67 degrees at 7 o'clock with a 60% chance of rain. So from about 6 through 8 p.m. tonight, we may get a good shower, which we could use it. We really could. And then in the morning, we may get another chance, but it's only like 20% chance from like 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the afternoon tomorrow. So at 20%, more than likely we won't get any more, but we may get some here this evening. Yeah, usually with a 20% chance of rain, we don't see any. Oh, according to this, Wednesday night it may get down to 36, according to this forecast. Now, I may have looked up another different forecast and it said 39. But a lot of times if they say 36, it don't get that cold. See what the 10-day says. Because I'm undecided if I want to put my lima beans planted yet. See, depending on which app you look at, you get a different forecast. Hi, I'm 72 years young. Oh, I got you beat, lady. Yeah, now see on this other app it says 39 degrees for Granbury. Let's look up Granbury itself and see what they say. That's all right, Edith. When you get to be Edith's age, you know all the tricks of the world. You know when somebody's fooling around. You know when they're sincere. There's Lucky Girl, 35 degrees right now. We'll be down to 18. It's 76 or 75 here. Well, no, currently it says 78 degrees on the Granbury app. Thunderstorms in the area late tomorrow night through Tuesday morning. So we may get rain tomorrow too, but tomorrow night. But it looks like we most definitely are going to get a little bit of rain this evening. We got a good chance of it anyway. Yeah, rain 55%. Yeah, and see on that other app it said it would get down to 36 that one night. And here it's not going to get below, I think the lowest it's going to get at night is 40. So I think Granbury's safe as far as their gardens. I think I'm going to go ahead. I don't know. I still got that raised bed to do and I've got my green stalk tower to do. I don't know which I should do first. But I'm thinking I might go ahead and plant my lima beans because I'm going to use my green stalk tower for my lima bean patch this year. I'm going to fill every hole up with a lima, I'm going to put a lima bean in every compartment. So there's 5 tiers. I think there's 5 or 6. I can't remember without being out there. There's 5 or 6 compartments in each tray. So that's at least 25 plants that's going to be coming up in that garden, in that green stalk tower. I bought 3 packs of seeds, hoping I've got enough seeds. What part of the country am I in? I'm in north central Texas, Henry. Yeah, Dennis took care of MOB, Mob, or whatever he is. Uncle BB says, I'm 66. Well, you're still a youngin'. Hi, Anus. That's that Swift House. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to write it down. But you know, you can plant mint, geraniums, marigolds. There's a whole list of plants that you can plant, just spread them out. And even hot pepper plants. You can spread those out throughout your whole garden, and they repel a lot of bugs and worms and ants and different things away from your plants, your vegetable plants. Okra, you know, ants love okra plants. They will devour your okra as soon as it's growing on your stalks. And I found, with the help of one of my subscribers, that pepper spray works amazing on okra plants. Just get you some jalapenos, chop them up, throw them in a pot, fill it full of water, boil them for a couple of hours, strain it off, put your liquid in a gallon jug, like a milk jug, fill it up the rest of the way with water or dilute it down. I don't know how much. You don't have to have it extremely strong. Put it in a sprayer, spray those okra plants, and I'll guarantee you the next day you will see a difference in your okra plant. It's like they grew overnight with those ants gone. Don't know what that is, but I'm going to write it down. Hyssop. I don't have any idea what that is, but I'm going to look it up. Edith or Claire. And hi, Claire. It's been ages since I've seen you in chat. Welcome. I'm still trying to find out what can get rid, and maybe this is what Claire's talking about. I don't know. But you know those squash borer things that get inside the vine of your zucchini and your squash and like your winter squash and stuff like that, pumpkins even, and kill your plant. I have been looking everywhere for something to get to prevent that from happening. Oh my goodness. But you can plant the marigolds, geraniums and stuff like that throughout your tomatoes. And that helps keep the worms away from your tomatoes too. I think I found maybe 4 or 5 tomato plants with a worm on them last year. Not all at the same time, but I did find a couple and I threw them across the field, you know. But they didn't do a whole lot of damage to my plant before I saw them. But one year, I think it was my very first year or second year that I planted squash and zucchini. I planted it in ground. And Bear product, the name of the company, had this great spray where it was concentrate. You mixed it in with water that killed all kind of bugs for your garden, but it was safe for humans. And I never was bothered with those worms that get in and kill your zucchini plants and your squash plants, as long as I use that. And I had a good crop of zucchini and squash for several years. And I mean, my zucchini was that long, that big around, and it was just as tender as the little bitty ones. I had cucumbers like this long. I've got pictures of my son holding those gigantic cucumbers, and they were good too. They were not tough. But you know, they took it off the market. I went in there that one year to try to get it for my garden, and I asked one of the guys that worked there. He said, "Oh, they took that off the market. You can't get that particular one anymore." I said, "Why did they do that?" He said, "I don't know. They said it was too bad on the gardens or something, and they pulled it off the market." But that was the best stuff I had ever found. I never had a problem with my zucchini plants or squash plants. But the stuff I'm able to get ever since then, I lose my zucchini and squash plants every year. I'm lucky if I get maybe one or two zucchini or squash, and that's it. Then my plants die. My winter squash are the same way. I'm looking that up right now. Claire, I want to see what that is. And I'd only use it one time a season. When I put my seeds out and did my planting, I went back and watered each hill with water with that insecticide in it. I was never bothered with any bugs, none of those borer worms or whatever they call them that get in your zucchini and squash and kill it. Never was bothered with them, ever. And now I can't get rid of them. I can't grow zucchini and squash anymore. They get into my pumpkin vines. They get into my other squash vines, you know, like the winter squash. There's several different squashes that I've planted, and they get into every one of them. I think this chat has stopped over here. And there's Cheryl Robin, Christine Mahoney. Yeah, this chat here has stopped. Let me refresh it, because it's not doing me any good if it don't refresh the chat where I can see it. Peppermint seeds. I don't know. That got by me. We were live last night too, Gladys. Hyssop is in the mint family. Oh no, Barbara. Barbara fell. She's in the hospital. She broke her femur bone in my right leg. All prayers. Oh yes, we'll definitely be praying for you. And we need to remember Jacqueline again. Jackie Martinez, because she's in bad shape. She can't see. Hopefully the doctors can fix her up where at least she'll be able to see again and read stuff. Yeah, I love fresh cucumbers from the garden too, but for the last couple of years I haven't had luck with them. But where I'm planting them this year, I'm hoping I'll have a lot better luck. Yeah, the squash borers. How do you get rid of those things? I can't get that insecticide that I used to get. They pulled it off the market. And this other stuff just does not work. But I'm looking up what Claire just put there. And these. Yes. Oh, it looks almost like lavender. I've got lavender seed planted out there, but I don't think this is the same thing. Well, I'm going to have to get me some. What do? Plant it beside your squash bush? Look up cinnamon bugs do not like that. Oh, I've got, I don't, I use Seven Dust. I try not to use it very much, but I do use that on a lot of my tree collards and my cabbage and stuff like that once in a while. But I harvest mine, like my cabbage, I don't let my cabbage head up because if I do, the bugs will devour it. And I don't want to keep it just constantly covered with insecticides. So I harvest my my cabbage leaves and cook them. That way I can get my leaves before the worms get on them and I don't have that much of a problem. But if they get bad enough, I do use a little bit of Seven Dust. Yeah, Baker Creek's got them, Amazon's got them, Walmart's got them. Or they should have the seed if they're not out of them. Hmm. A lot of times, if I wait and get to get seeds at Walmart's when I go out there, they don't have them anymore. I'm sorry, y'all. Whew. Yeah, I'm not. I'm planting them in. I've got 4 totes fixed just for my zucchini and my um, yellow squash that have never been used before. Brand new dirt, brand new soil. Well, no, I'll keep my pails because it catches the compost tea coming off my totes and my other plant buckets, that are elevated because I can re-water my plants with that. We still got a water rationing going on. I don't know how many years they're going to do this, and I'm afraid if people complain too much, they may lift the water rationing, but they may go way up on our water bills. No, I need my pails, Kevin. That catches my compost tea runoff from my totes and my 5-gallon buckets when I water. So I can reuse that compost tea to re-water with. That's how I've been keeping my garden alive all summer with this water rationing. Because I'm only allowed to water with my garden hose 1 day a week. The other time I have to use the compost tea that I've got in containers. I've got 32-gallon containers. I've got, I don't know what the other size, 20-some gallon containers. I've got 5-gallon bucket containers out there. No, I haven't. I have done it before. Yeah, I put crushed eggshells in my compost, and sometimes I'll crush them all up and put them around the plants. I don't think they'd appreciate that, Dennis. I've got a garden hose long enough to take care of anything I want to water in my yard. It's just the fact that I'm only supposed to use it one time a week. You're prohibited to even wash your car in your yard. You can't do anything else outside in your yard with a garden hose. I can't wash my furniture off outside even. Isn't that the pits? I pay $80, $90 a month for water and I can't use it. Well, I see what it is and I'm going to be ordering me some. But they say lavender is real good too for some bugs and different things in your garden. So I've got lavender. Hopefully my seeds will germinate and come up this year. I wonder what the difference between lavender and this is. I don't know. Yeah, I bought a package of lavender seeds and I've got those out, but they haven't come up yet. Also help. Yeah, I'm all for the different plants that you can plant throughout your garden, that'll prevent different insects from coming in. That's one reason I got started planting so many hot peppers, because hot peppers will keep the ants away from your plants usually. And I didn't have any hot peppers planted around my okra. And the ants were having a field day. Yeah, lavender's a different flower, but it's a similar. But I was trying to see where it tells you what lavender was good. Oh yeah, I'm going to plant tons of marigolds and zinnias. Basil is good even to spread basil plants throughout your garden. And I'm going to try to have at least one basil plant in each garden bed. Yeah, I usually get plant food sometimes that has lime in it. Or once in a while, I'll just buy a bag of lime and spread it out. I haven't bought any yet because I haven't planted any tomatoes yet. My tomato seeds have not come up yet. Well, I haven't been able to come across what tells you what the lavender was good for. And I've got to remember to plant the can't remember the name of it, the seeds that Brooklyn sent. She sent me a package of seeds for Christmas that attract butterflies. I've got to get some of that in a pot. Let me do a search on lavender. Well, I've got roses here at the end of the house, which is basically in the garden, but it doesn't cover the whole garden area. Well, it's telling me how to grow it. Well, the scent of lavender relieves stress, it says. It's a pretty plant. It's impressive. It also makes beautiful dried flower bouquets, as well as a delicious ingredient in simple syrup or cupcakes with lavender frosting. I mean, I may have put it out at the wrong time of the year. I don't know, but it's out. I've got seeds out. So I'm hoping it'll germinate and grow. And it's supposed to be a hardy plant for this moths, mosquitoes, flies, fleas, according to Google. Yeah, I had read that. That's one reason I got the lavender this year, because it was supposed to keep a lot of insects away. Hmm. And I've got to get out there and dump all my mint pots, break the plants apart, because I know they're root bound. They didn't grow very well this past summer because they're root bound, and I need to get them out, break them all apart, and repot them so they have room to grow. Oh, well, lavender tolerates poor soils, so that should get along great here. And it's a perennial. And with my experiments with mints, I knew to put lavender in a pot because I don't want it to take over my yard, even though it's beautiful. They grow lavender on a farm in Riverhead, New York, near me. I bet it's beautiful. Well, hello, Stephen Wolf. Welcome. You recommend lemon balm. Oh, wow. You know, I was thinking about getting some lemon balm seeds, and I haven't done that yet. I've never grown lemon balm before. But yeah, I've got to remember to dig out that package of seed that Brooklyn sent me to attract butterflies. I don't usually have the bottom end rot on my tomatoes. Maybe it's because I put lime to my plants, especially my tomatoes. And I never realized that might be the reason they don't get bottom end rot. What part of the country are you in, Stephen or Stephen Wolf? Yes, good for if outdoor ants. Lemon balm. Okay. Well, I got ants, so I need me a lot of lemon balm around my yard and my garden. I need to deter ants. Let them go somewhere else. Get off this rock mountain. I guess that's one reason why when these people buy these new lots, they dig to China to get all the rocks and boulders out, and then they haul in tons of loads of dirt. That way they take away all those rocks and boulders that ants love to live in between. It gives them natural paths down in there. You're in Connecticut? I'm not in New York. I'm in Texas. You planted cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchini, limas, yellow squash, spinach, and celery. You already planted it, Kevin? I'm originally from North Carolina, right on the East Coast. But I'm in Texas now. I've lived here for ever since 1978. Been here a long time. Have you already planted all that, Kevin? My tomato seed haven't come up yet, but my zucchini's popping through the ground and my yellow squash. And I planted 6 celery plants. Holtzville. So you've already planted cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchini, limas, yellow squash, and spinach and celery. Well, I've already got perpetual spinach growing from last year. All of it didn't die out. I may not even have to replant. Oh, in trays under the lights. See, I don't have anywhere to do that. I've got mine in the greenhouse, but I don't have those lights that you put over them. I do have heat in the greenhouse now, though. So if it gets down to freezing, I can turn the heat on and keep them from freezing if the plants grow. The seeds I weren't too worried about because usually it doesn't hurt the seeds if they freeze. It's after they germinate and sprout that you have to worry. Because you don't want it to freeze in your greenhouse when you got little sprouts coming up. It'll kill them. But I got to get more tomato plants. I've got, I think, 2 different types of tomato seed in cups in the greenhouse. But I've got several more different types of tomatoes I want to get out there too. You're temporarily in West Virginia. I'm dealing with some health issues. Hope to get together. Get to Florida. You're 2 months later than us in season. Oh, okay. Well, the nurseries out here have gotten all of their peppers. They just brought in all their tomato plants. Everything is in there for the garden. And people are buying tons of it, so they got to be planting outside somewhere. Unless they got an awfully big greenhouse they can grow it in. Started mine on a bench in the garage. Well, I don't really have anywhere in the house to start it. So I bought one of those little greenhouses that I've recovered every year or every other year. But I've got some of my eggplant seed that's popped up. I've got not cucumbers, but I've got zucchini and yellow squash that has just moved the dirt up, and you know how big their little leaves are. Just pushed it right up out of the way. So I definitely don't want it to freeze in my greenhouse now because it'll kill those little seedlings. And I've got lettuce growing, but you know, I started some inside that's not come up yet. But what I put in this little pot outside, the whole pot full is popped up. I mean, I've got little bitty lettuce seedlings all throughout that tray. Okay, Claire, good night. You have a blessed night, and I'm glad you could make it to join us today. We missed you. You like the big beefy tomatoes? Yeah. I grow the big ones. I try to get those going real good. And I also grow the grape and cherry tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, beefsteaks. I don't remember what the name of the little tomato plant is I just bought. But it was a name I didn't have. That's the only reason I bought one little cup of a plant. But it has two little plants growing up in it. So I said, well, I paid like $1.50 for each plant because it was almost $4. No, it was 3 something. No, I don't have lights. I've got a light in there, but it's just a regular house light that I've got hanging from the ceiling. So if I'm out there at night for any reason, I do have a light in there that I can see. But it's not a grow light or anything. Oh, banana is great. Oh my God, my roses love banana compost. My tomato plants do too. All of my plants love banana compost. In fact, one of the videos that I just put out, I showed people how to use the banana peel. If they don't want to wait for the compost, just throw it in your blender, the whole banana peel. You know, and fill your blender with water or put it in there enough to where you can just chop it all up. Make a slushy out of it, and then fill it the rest of the way with water, and then take it out, and you got enough right there to water 2 plants, 2 rose bushes with it, or 2 tomato plants. Sometimes I'll just take the banana peels, take them out there and just lay them under the bush, let them break down on their own. But I'd rather take them and just chop them up good in the blender, turn them into liquid, and then go water the rose bush with it. Because I've got 2 rose bushes out here in this rock garden that look kind of puny. And man, it makes a difference when I put banana water to them. Because they're getting potassium and magnesium, I think, from the banana peel, which they love. And it gives them a spurt of growth too. Nothing is more inspirational to me than getting to the city, and the big box stores have the outside greenhouses and parking lots. I know, isn't that cool, Tamara? Compost soup, yeah. Well, if I have fish remains, other than that, I use fish emulsion. You know, it's real concentrated and it smells pretty bad, but you only have to put like a tablespoon to a gallon of water, or a couple of gallons of water, and water your plants with it once in a while. Well, believe you me, those rose bushes and tomato plants, or any of your garden plants, love that potassium and magnesium that they get from those banana peels. And I love bananas, so it don't bother me a bit to go to the store and buy me a chunk of bananas and feed my plants magnesium and potassium from the banana peels. What's that hoagie meal? What? I don't know what you're talking about. You have to explain, Henry. I don't know what you mean. But see, when you use your buckets and you elevate your totes and your other 5-gallon buckets and have the water reservoir in the bottom, any runoff will go back in those buckets below. And that's not only compost tea, but you're getting all the fertilizer or the plant food or the fish emulsion or whatever you watered that plant with in the bucket to use again on another plant or the same plant later. So I'm able to keep my garden alive and not have to run city water out there but once a week. Because on that one day that I can water, I water my garden good unless it rains. And I make sure all my containers are full of water for the rest of the week. Yeah, that would be good. Lake water would be fantastic, but it would be too hard for me to try to bring 5-gallon buckets of water from the lake. I don't have a truck. I don't have a pickup. And I could put a lid on a 5-gallon bucket. The only thing is I can't pick up a 5-gallon bucket full of water. I know I keep compost tea in the 5-gallon buckets in the yard, but I tilt them over and pour water in the smaller bucket to use it. I don't pick up that 5-gallon bucket. I can't, not with my back and neck injuries. It's too heavy. That lake water is the best in the world to water anything with. Anything that grows would love lake water. Yeah, but you got to carry it somehow, Kevin. You got to transport it to your house. I can't carry a 5-gallon bucket. I need me a water truck to fill up, and then it would come to my house and just empty the water in my containers. Yeah, but a few 2-gallon jugs wouldn't even make a dent in the stuff I've got out here in my yard. I've got rock gardens with growing stuff in them. I've started another whole section of garden this year. Not counting what I've already got on this side. Make him a big old tomato sandwich. Well, that sounds good. I'm part Italian. My grandparents, or my granddad and my great-grandparents came from Italy. They came over in the 1800s, came through Ellis Island, became American citizens. So my granddad was 100% Italian, because he was just a toddler when he came to the United States. He wasn't big enough to know where they were going or why or what they were doing. That'd be a big old sandwich for me. I couldn't handle a whole loaf of Italian bread. I usually have to have bacon on my tomato sandwich, though. But it sounds good. I've got my washing machine drain that goes out to my garden. I used to have it out to the cedar tree, but it was going across the yard. But I moved it because some of the neighbors were saying something about it. And it's perfectly legal to run washing machine water to water a garden or a tree. And that's one reason my tree died, is because it's not getting water anymore. Yeah, I wash dishes in a dishpan. I take my dishwater out and I water whatever plants are closest to the house with the dishwater. See, we have something in common, Stephen. My grandparents or my great grandparents came from Italy, And they brought my granddad with them when he was just a little boy. He was just like a year old, I think. And his sister, she was like 2 or 3, I think, when they came to the United States. I love cutting a tomato in half, rubbing it on toast with salt and garlic. I've got Roma tomatoes I want to get started from seed. But I'm falling down. I've got too many things going on, too much to do, and I'm only one person. I can only tackle one project a day. Yeah, my dad was from North Carolina, so he was 100% American from the South. He grew up on a farm. That's what his parents did. They were farmers. And there was 9 kids, surviving kids in his family. And he joined the Navy right out of high school. So he was in the Navy most of the time when I was growing up as a little child. He was in for a little over 12 years, and finally, my mom said, "You got to get out. You got to stay home. We got too many kids. You got to help me." So he got out of the Navy after about 12 and a half years. Yeah, I got a lot accomplished, but I got a lot more to do. I might work on my green stalk tower tomorrow and get that right ready to pop those seeds in. I got to soak the seeds overnight though, but I want to get the tower ready to go first and have it just sitting there right ready for me to plant my seeds in before I ever put those seeds near water. I know I wished I'd have had them put the drain, the gutters, at least along this back patio roof up here. And I guess I could get a gutter. It probably wouldn't be that much for me to, I could probably put a gutter up there myself. I don't know. But I need a gutter up there that it would run down one corner and fill up a container with water. But I don't have it, so. And there's some neighbors of mine. She told me one day that they had started a garden, and they have those great big water containers. I mean, really big ones. And they catch the water off the roof of their house. And she said that's enough water, and those 2 containers are so big that lasts all summer to water anything they want, even for the house if they wanted water in the house. Yeah, I'm going to plant my tower with bush beans, lima beans, because they're bush beans, they're not going to grow and trellis out like you've got to grow all over the yard. They're going to be bush beans. So, and I did some research on it, and they said that lima beans, the bush beans, are the best in the world to plant in a green stalk tower. They do really well. So I'm anxious to try mine in the tower this year. My peppers did real good. I had tomatoes growing in it. Volunteer tomato seed came up, and it produced some of the biggest tomatoes I had in the whole garden. And I left it and I let it grow, but it started getting cold and freezing cold and killed the plant off. I had to pick some of the last tomatoes when they were green because they didn't have time to ripen on the vine. On Facebook Marketplace, they give drums away. Well, I'm going to have to check into that. I notice Walmart now, and probably the other stores do too, they're selling water containers now. They're made out of the same stuff that mine's made out of, but they're a little bigger than a 32-gallon container. And they've got the actual spout on them at the bottom. See, I have to dip my water out of my containers because I never put a spout in the bottom because I don't have them elevated or any of that stuff. I mean, you're looking at the one and only person that does everything in my garden. So I'm limited on what physically I can do. Wow, Linda, do you live next door to Jack? No, I don't know that I have a Jack living next door to me. But yeah, I'd love to have my containers to where they're elevated with spouts on the bottom. That'd be the perfect world. But the containers I've got, I just lift the top off. I take a small bucket and I dip it out, pour it in a watering can, and I can go around and water with it. So they're sufficient right now, and they're a lot cheaper than those water containers they're selling. They're at least $100 or more. But I found the cheapest way to store water in my yard is in the 32-gallon black trash cans. You can get one for like $20, and they're made to hold up under extreme heat and sunlight, because they're made to hold garbage. They don't want them breaking down and spilling garbage everywhere. So my containers have been holding up pretty good. And some of them I put a hole in the center with a screen attached to where I can put it upside down to where it actually catches rainwater. Some of them I didn't do that because it really doesn't rain enough out here to even bother with it. And a lot of times my containers are not empty when it does rain, so I don't need to catch the rainwater. So I said, oh well. If my containers were empty when it come a good rain, it would do a world of wonders because I'd have a whole container full of rainwater, but usually I've already got water in them. Many garden items on Marketplace, people give away garden stuff for free. I haven't been on Marketplace too much. I've joined Marketplace to where, I could put anything up there for sale or for free if I wanted to. I just haven't done it yet. I'm trying a few new things this year and, just seeing how it's going to work out. You got to experiment with a garden. If what you're doing don't work, try something else. Plant it in a different spot. Plant it in a different kind of container. Hi, Ann. How are you doing? It's going pretty good. I just got another sale. In fact, I've got it boxed up. I got to get it in the mail tomorrow. I got to drop it off at what is it, USPS? I don't even know if they're open today. I doubt it. But I haven't been away from the house all day today. I've been busy in the yard this morning. I got some things done. And then I said I didn't want to completely wear myself out because I wanted to feel halfway decent when I did my live this afternoon. But I want to grow some patty pan squash this year. I've grown them a few years, the vine, but I didn't have it in the right location. And it produced little tiny patty pans. They didn't really get big and develop like they should. So I've got to try to find another spot, I guess where they get more sun, and try to grow them. If I can keep those borers away from them. No, there's no April or Connie anymore. April's, and they've been going to other people's lives, not here. I think April got a little bit upset when I had that little deal with Grandma Teresa, and she's over at her lives now, or not her lives. She don't have lives, but she's watching her videos and supporting the one that was trying to hurt me. So I don't need her. If that's the way she wants to be, stay over there. Because I didn't do anything to that lady, so she was trying to do it to me. So Yeah, I wanted to try to grow patty pan squash again this year. Just pick a new location to put it in. And some more of the winter squashes. And oh, I can't think of, I've got so many different types of squash seed, and I can't remember the names of all of them offhand. Yeah, I have a lot of new people, Kevin. Gladys and a ha ha. Yeah, I like yellow squash too. When they were still making that Bear pesticide that I was using in the beginning, I had so many squash and cucumbers. I was giving them away. I was pickling them. I was making pickles out of squash and zucchini. And I was giving the pickles away because I had so many I didn't know what to do with them. I was giving zucchini away. My son would take a bunch home with him. Yeah, I used to make pickles, but now I don't get pickles. I mean, I haven't got enough cucumbers to even bother with making pickles. I'm hoping planting them in that bed out there this year, that raised bed. Hopefully they'll produce better out there. But you know, that pesticide that I used that killed all of the invaders that did your plants harm, sell it anymore. My garden just, I can't get it to perform like it used to because I can't find the right type of bleh, in, insecticide to put on it. You know, like to kill the vine borers and all this stuff that devour your plant. They kill it from the inside out. And no matter what kind of stuff you spray it with or sprinkle on it, it is not going to help. I've used diatomaceous earth. I've done all of that. It don't help. But that one insecticide that they took off the market worked like a blooming charm, y'all. I often wondered, did the stores have in cahoots with the company not to sell it to the public so they can't grow their own squash and zucchini, so you got to go buy it? I mean, I'm sure they had good reasons for pulling it off the market, but it was the best you could get. You was choking on rice last night. Well, you got to soak them in, oh, I can't remember the name of it. It's a brine that you put on the pickles after you cut them up to keep them crisp. And then you can them in vinegar and sugar and different spices. And then you put them in cans just like I do the jalapeno peppers and make cowboy candy and all that other stuff. I don't think I've ever used Yard Guard. Can you not get that anymore, Uncle BB? I don't remember ever using a product that was called Yard Guard. Was it real good stuff? And can you get it anymore? Oh no, Wilson, that bad? You almost had to go to the ER? Well, I know sometimes you can get stuff caught in your throat. No danger chemical. Yeah, I love rice too. I could eat it any day. I can eat rice just with melted butter on it and salt and pepper. I love it. Wasn't good as DDT. Well, I don't know. They need to put something on the market like the stuff they took off that got rid of those squash borers before they devoured your plant. I mean, that stuff, it was for all your vegetable garden and flowers. You plant your seeds, you water it down with that stuff because you dilute it down in water. You water good with it that one time, and that's all it took. No vine borers, no nothing. You weren't bothered with anything on your plants after that. And I had some beautiful vegetables that year, a couple of years that I could get that. You like lo mein? I like any type of Chinese stir fry when you got a lot of rice. It's just like me. I can be drinking or swallowing and all of a sudden just choke. Not even be eating anything and I'll choke. Mom sprayed it on the couch before Dad took his nap. Uncle BB. You're making your mom sound like a mean person. Looking to see how many. We got 38 still watching. I haven't bored everybody to death. Yeah, Wilson, you got to cook your rice first. You can't eat it raw when you're forced to be mean. It was cooked. We're teasing you, Wilson. You can choke on anything. It gets just right in your throat. It don't matter what it is. You can choke. Your face was fixing to turn blue. Were you by yourself? That's one thing that's, no, you weren't by yourself. Well, that was good. That was one thing that scared me when I had that reaction to that. I was trying to remember what kind of shot it was. Here a while back, I got some kind of vaccination. I don't remember what it was, but oh my God, I couldn't. I ended up, I couldn't hardly walk. I mean, there for a moment, I had to put my head down on the table because I couldn't even hold my head up. Everything was spinning, turning black. I was throwing up. I was so scared, and I said, well, man, I need to call 911 because I was here by myself. I thought I was dying, and I couldn't even get to my phone. But thank God it passed. But that was scary, being by yourself, no way to call anyone or contact anyone, and thinking you're dying. I've never had a shot that did me that way before. Oh, I was just deathly ill. I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was that shot that one of the ladies, that one of my subscribers had mentioned in chat one night. And when I went in to get shots or something, they mentioned that shot. And I knew what it was because of the live I had. Yeah, it was some kind of a shot for your chest or where you don't get sick. Respiratory something. And I took that shot. I swear I'll never take another one. No, that scared me to death. I had to be allergic to something in that shot for it to do me the way it did. I woke up. I didn't feel exactly right. I got up and I managed to walk into the kitchen. But by the time I got to the kitchen, I almost fell in the kitchen chair. And I was sitting here like this, leaning on the table. And it wasn't long before my head was down flat on the table because I couldn't even hold my head up. Yeah, I will not ever take another one of those shots. It was R something, RSV or some kind of shot that they take for some infection in your chest when you get a certain age. It could have been RSV. I don't know what even RSV means, but I know it's respiratory something. But one of the ladies in here said that she had to go get one of those shots because she had real bad chest congestion and stuff. RSVP. Well, I don't even know what RSVP means, Uncle Munson, Uncle BB. But yeah, when I went in, they told me that they had that shot and I had not had one. Did I want to get it? And I said, well, I knew what it was because, it had been mentioned in my live like a week before. So I figured, well, sure, I'll take that too if I need it. But oh no. After having that type of reaction to that shot, I'll never take another one. I'll take my chances. Well, I hope it's a one-time shot. I thought somebody said it was a yearly shot or something. But I know I'll never take another one. If they offer it to me, I'll say no thank you. Well, these shots are only as good as the person you're giving it to, because just because you're getting a shot doesn't mean you're absolutely not going to get sick. Like, just if you take a measles shot, that doesn't mean you're not ever going to get measles. You may get measles, but that it may not be as bad as it would have been if you didn't have the shot. I know I've absolutely never had a polio shot or serum. I think when they were given polio the year when I was little, they were giving it to you as a liquid. They put it in your mouth and it absorbed through your tongue or something. And my dad refused to let us get it because that's when the polio vaccine first came out. And in a lot of cases, it was actually giving kids polio. So my dad said, no, these kids are not taking polio. So we never did. Stephen says, I'd rather have Jack Daniels. Yeah, I don't drink either. But I think I'd rather take a slug of Jack Daniels than to take another one of those shots. I'm 66. Measles were gone by then. Well, I was just a little girl when the polio vaccine first came out and they were giving it to everybody. The only thing was, I don't know if something was wrong with the batch of the serum or what it was, but the word was out that it was actually giving a lot of people polio that took it. And my dad refused to let anybody give us any of it. You're going to be 67 in 2 weeks, Kevin? Well, happy early birthday. I hope you're going to be in our live whenever your birthday is. Yeah, he said after that being reported that a lot of the children that had been getting the polio shot got polio from it. My dad said, no, there's no way my kids are taking polio. Because he said the chances are you go in and get that vaccine, you're going to have polio. So he said no. Well, I've had all the COVID shots up till except for the one that came out this year. And my doctor mentioned it to me. He said, you might check on that because they've come out with a new one for 25. And he said, you haven't had a COVID shot since April of 24. So when I went to get my prescription filled for my bladder infection, I asked the pharmacist about it, and they said, oh, yeah, we've got another vaccine out. But she said, you're taking antibiotics with this prescription, so you got to wait 2 weeks after you stop taking this antibiotic before you can take the other shot. So I said, fine. Well, I got measles and chicken pox, I think. But I had both. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I got the vaccination for them, but I ended up with both. Because I had a scar right here, a little round scar right there in the middle of my forehead from chicken pox. I remember I having chicken pox and measles. And it was not fun. The only thing I think is worse than chicken pox or measles is hives. The time I broke out from allergic reaction to coconut oil, I had hives from head to my feet. That hurt. It was so uncomfortable. I felt miserable. Took me forever to get rid of those. Weeks taking Benadryl 24/7. You had shingles when you were 13? Well, I got a shingle shot. My doctor recommended that my age to go in and get one because I was at the time working where a lot of older people were. And he said it'd be a good idea for you to get the shingle shot because you don't want shingles. And I read about shingles and I said, no, I don't want them. So I did get the shingle shot. That's been several years ago. Yeah, the itch, the chicken pox and measles both. You have these little bumps on you that itched, and if you scratched them, they bleed. Oh, it was awful. And if you scratch them and they bleed, they leave scars. I've still got scars on my arms. Little block dots almost of a scar from chicken pox and measles. And I was wondering because when I was in the pharmacy, when they asked me, the lady was asking me, are you allergic to anything, this, that, and the other? And I said, yeah, I'm allergic to a lot of stuff. I'm allergic to codeine. I'm allergic to foods. I'm allergic to everything I'm breathing. I'm allergic to x-ray dye. But I must have been something in that shot that they gave me, that RSV shot or whatever, that I was allergic to because it liked to kill me. Stephen, that Stephen says I had all my shots when I was a kid, no more. But you know, when I had the shot for German measles, I had bad cravings for kielbasa and sauerkraut. That's funny. My mom had measles. They put her in a dark room. Okay, Gladys, enjoy the rest of your day. We're not going to be on here much longer. We've been on already for a little over 2 hours. Yeah, when they injected me with x-ray dye for my kidneys one time, I had kidney stones and they injected me with x-ray dye to get a better x-ray of my kidneys. I couldn't breathe. It was like an elephant sat on my chest. I couldn't breathe in or out. I couldn't talk. All I could do is wave my arms for that, the nurse, the technician. And she said, "What is it? What is it?" And I tried to tell her, "Can't breathe." And she understood, and she ran and got the doctor. I could hear her telling him in the hall. She said, "She's having an allergic reaction to this dye. What do I do? She can't breathe." He said, "So many cc's of Benadryl stat." She came back in there with a syringe and stuck it in that IV tube that they had just given me the dye with. And she put it in the same tube. And as soon as that Benadryl hit my system, I was breathing again. That was scary. When you can't breathe, that was almost as scary as being alone, having a bad reaction to that RSVP shot or whatever it was. Yeah, that's how I found out I was allergic to x-ray dye. When you can't breathe, you know you got an allergic reaction to it. Oh wow, they use shots in the butt back in. Well, I still get shots in my hip, depending on what it is. I mean, I haven't had one in a long time, but. And there's M to the J. Hello, M to the J. Uncle BB said his neighbor had scarlet fever. Well, I've lost something in this translation. Yes, bad news. It's like getting winded. No, when I couldn't breathe, I couldn't breathe. That means I couldn't inhale or exhale. It just felt like something clamped down on my chest and my chest wouldn't move. What stuff you used to drink, BB? Put my eggshells and lobster shells in the garden to increase calcium for spring. Well, that'd be good. I'd love to have a lobster right now. Can you believe this is the second day of March already? Who had a shot on? I've had shots on my hip. It depends on what kind of shot it was. I used to take allergy shots. They'd give it to me on my hip because they were such strong shots they couldn't give it to me in my arm. Yeah, I got molasses. Why, Stephen? Or Stephen? You like molasses? I do. It was a vaccine for something. We don't have a Wegmans here. You can usually get it at H-E-B or Kroger. And I guess Walmart probably has it now. I don't know if Walmart does or not, but I know H-E-B, Kroger, and sometimes you can get it at Brookshire's. It's usually pretty expensive. I've never tried molasses on Ritz crackers. The way I've always ate mine was with hot homemade biscuit, pour it in my plate and sop my biscuit in it and eat it. Oh, that was good. Or sometimes I'd want a sandwich and not want anything, and I'd think of molasses, and I'd get me 2 pieces of bread, and I lightly pour molasses around the top 1 piece of the bread, and then make me a sandwich, a molasses sandwich. It was pretty good. I haven't done that in a while. Really, molasses would clear my cough? You don't have a Kroger's there. We got Kroger's, we got H-E-B, the Walmart Supercenter, Aldi, Brookshire's. I usually get my salmon either at Walmart or Aldi. I haven't bought any in a while. I need to go get me some salmon. I usually try to eat a small piece of salmon at least once a week because I know it's good for you. And I like it. You have childhood memories of the pain from shots, Wilson? Oh, your mom gave you about a tablespoon at night. Oh, man. Croissants, honey, with sliced almonds on top, with butter inside at Dunkin' Donuts. We've got a couple of donut shops here, but I never go. Because I know if I go and I buy a half a dozen donuts, I'm going to come home and eat every one of them. I wouldn't stop at one of them. Your spell check's off. Well, I'm wondering if we're going to get the rain they were talking about. But we still got time. It's only about 5:30, almost 5:30. So we've been on for, well, going on 2.5 hours. Yeah, I'd love to have some lobster right now, Dennis. Big old plate full of lobster. Oh my God. That's a postnasal drip cough, I guess. Go take that molasses. Tamara says, good night, all. Supper time. Yeah, I guess I should let everybody go. We've been on here for about 2.5 hours. Like I said, when I get to chatting with everybody, I lose track of time. I have a good time in my live chats, y'all. I enjoy chatting with everybody. But I'm going to try that. I'm going to try molasses because I do have a jar in my cabinet over here. So I will try molasses. I'll take a spoonful of molasses and see what it does. But good night, Tamara. Sweet dreams. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Enjoy your dinner. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. In fact, everybody, I think I will close my live, get me some dinner. First, I'm going to go out there and move those 2 little tin planters because I don't want, if it does rain, I don't want them to rain in those and fill them up because they don't have a drain hole in them yet. At least I'll move them where, here on the back patio, I think, until I can get drain holes put in them. And then think about where I'm going to put them because I know with our hot sun, I don't want to put them anywhere where they're going to be in the open hot sun in the afternoon because it would fry the plant. I'll have to think about somewhere to put them that's in mostly shaded area. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate you for coming into my live today. I've enjoyed it, had a lot of fun. Hope you have too. And have a blessed night. Stay safe. Stay warm if you're in a cold area. Okay, I'm glad came in on It's Been a Pleasure Meeting You. Well, thank you, Stephen. It's been a pleasure meeting you too, and I hope you join us again. So I'm going to let everybody go. Y'all have a blessed night. Love y'all. See you next time. Bye now.